come on here. Remember, you can always catch any of the Bridges live shows with Dr. Paul Dyer, any of his special guests here on all your podcast channels. I'd like to welcome everyone to Voices to Be Heard. We do Voices to Be Heard twice a month, and as the holidays come up, my other two co-hosts, Len Twyman and Tamara Randolph, they are not with us today. They are doing their thing and they're busy as could be. But I do want to come to you to hear your voice, or at least for you to understand, to hear mine. Voices to be Heard is about talking about abuse, domestic violence, or domestic disturbance. We are here talking about how voices get silenced by an abuser. We are here to talk about how voices get silenced by an abuser. Now, we all know what domestic violence looks like. We also know what domestic disturbance looks like. We actually also know what domestic situation or any situation, and what I mean by domestic, I mean something that is to you, personal to you. You could have this at work, you can have this at home, you can have this anywhere where you have a domestic disturbance. Recognize it, and I think many people can. We've seen the movies, we've talked about it, we've read about it, we've shaken our heads about it. We have said, no, not me. No, not me. No, this cannot happen to me. And that is just not true. We all know it could happen to you. It has happened to me. But we also know that it silences you from speaking up, speaking out, and getting help. How to ask for help seems to be the most struggle. We feel so prideful. I think that's the easy word that we could say is why we never ask for help. On many situations, on few situations, and very, very rarely when it comes to abuse situations, we learn to ask for help. Recently, today, we know it's the anniversary of what happened in Hawaii. Yes, the bombing, right? Does anyone know? Yes, come on, history buffs. Are you out there? I'm waiting for someone to come on live line and say something. Yes, Pearl Harbor. I was stationed in Hawaii, and I talked to many people of a Pearl Harbor survivors, and I asked them about that day. And I just want to give you a recap of the things that they had said. One of the things, they were going to church that early Sunday morning, and this was on the north side of the island. And so, if you don't know the island, many people have never been there. The planes fly from this eastern side of the island, and then it comes down to Kolikoli Pass and into Pearl Harbor. Well, Kolikoli Pass, the narrow, is about this. It's the only pass they could have passed through, because if they had to fly over the peaks, they would have never made it to Pearl Harbor. But that's besides the fact. That's a history fact. But what I want to talk to you is that when the bombing started to happen in Pearl, the island shook. Many people on the island, all over the island, heard the shaking. They didn't know what was going on, but they knew this disturbance was shaking. And as the news came across the radio that Pearl Harbor was being bombed, it threw everyone into a panic. Now, talking with them, talking with some of the survivors and people who lived on the island who were there, they said one thing. We knew there was something wrong, but we just felt it. And we felt helpless. And I want to associate that with domestic disturbance or domestic violence or abuse. You feel when something is wrong, so you try to get the help you need without being so panicky. But you got to remember, if it affects you and you're a mother or a father, it's affecting your children. If it's in your household and the disturbance is affected, it affects everyone because people feel it. We feel things. And I've said this on many of my other shows. We are receivers and transmitters. We have to work on reception and we have to work on transmitting. Things are coming in and things are going out. You may not understand them, but it's happening. And when it comes to domestic disturbance, domestic abuse, getting the help is not just so you can recognize it, it's so helpfully you can understand that this disturbance is causing trouble, emotional trouble, mental trouble, and physical trouble if it ever gets that way. I've said this many times. Not many people understand that when I'm screaming at you or pointing my finger at you, that's unhealthy. If I'm raising my voice because I feel like I have not been heard and pointing, that's unhealthy. These are unhealthy issues. This is domestic disturbance. And the person that's screaming and pointing or being sarcastic, it's not funny. When you're being sarcastic, it is harmful in many, many ways. If you're in a comedy nightclub, be sarcastic. If you're at home, sarcasm, hence painful and it's hurtful. I do have to put a disclaimer out there. I personally don't get sarcasm. I personally dislike sarcasm. I personally think it's taken out of context and it's not truly understood by the person who is hearing it. Maybe by the person saying it, but maybe by the person hearing it. And that's just me. But when we're going back to domestic disturbance, there's many times we do these shows. Many times we're talking to someone who needs us to be talked to. I want to tell you this. One, you're not alone. Two, get help. Three, you're not alone. Four, get help. That's twice, I'm telling you. Because you're twice as worth it. You're all worth it. Yes, this depiction behind me, that's abuse. Verbal abuse does that too. Screaming to someone does that too. And if you look to the side of me, let's go to this way. If you look to the side of me, when you're screaming in a house with children, this is what it does to. They pick up on it. It feeds into their development. This is hard to recover. Can it be recovered? Absolutely. Absolutely, you can recover from this if you get the help. If you don't get the help, then you stay with these chains wrapped around you forever. And those chains, you start wrapping around other people because you believe that if you're locked up mentally, emotionally, that everyone else should be locked up mentally, emotionally. And if you don't ask for help, then this stays on you. And this happens to your children. It's very graphic, but very serious. And I mean well. We need a healthy society to move forward. And the only way that we can have a healthy society to move forward, the only way we can get a healthy society to move forward is if you get checked out and understand that you're not as healthy as you would like to be. Your success depends on your mental and emotional health. Voices to be heard. We have a toll-free number that we'll be giving out after the year. You can always email us on the show. You can always put in the inbox on the show, or you can always just contact us on all the social medias where you see all these programmers to say, I heard the show, I know someone. Contact those resources. Sometimes we say there isn't enough, but we got to use the ones we have. Check up on the people you say you care about. Make a phone call this holiday to someone you say, are you okay? How are you doing? There's so many people going through domestic disturbances, abuse situations, and they're all kinds. We're here to help. We're here to build a community, not tear it up, tear it down. Sometimes we talk about this and it goes again and again and again, and yet people are still not asking for help. That's why we keep talking about it. We don't keep talking about it because this is a great conversation to talk about. This hurts. This is painful. Not painful to me because I'm expressive, but it's painful because I know there's people out there. I know there's people that are struggling in a home life that they don't want to be in. They're afraid to break apart. They're afraid to let someone go. They're afraid to say, I need help. Because the problem is, here's the other thing with the Black community. If I'm a woman and I call on my Black male partner, we know he's going to jail. And we know what jail does. And that's not where you're supposed to be, but that's where they go. We know if it's a male calling on a female, she might lose custody of her kids. That's not what we want to happen. But there's physical altercations that are happening that doesn't need to happen, but people need to separate so they can heal this, clean this up. So if they're compatible, the only way you're going to know you're compatible is if you heal yourself from the trauma, the dangers, the mishaps, whatever past inflictions you've gone through, whatever chain that has you on your heart, on your mind, and on your spiritual. Because you're causing this chain to stay locked up in this house. And like those survivors said on Pearl Harbor, we just feel it shake. We feel it. We all feel it. It all damages us. And you can't keep it a secret because it takes a toll on you, your appearance, your look, your personality, the way you feel, the way you see things. Voices to be Heard on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Twice a month. We'll be coming right back after New Year's. I will be coming to you just to give you a little bit of tidbit. If you have any more questions, please contact me. I'm Dr. Paul. We hope you hear us. We hope you feel us and do something. But no, get help and you're not alone. Get help and you're not alone. Those things. Get help, you're not alone. Get help, you're not alone. Get help, you're not alone. Let's stick together. God bless everyone. Stay compassionate, stay kind, and work on your compassion. Thank you.